Welcome to Signal, where we analyze business and technology market trends and separate signal from the noise to help you and your organization to transform with AI and digital. If you're new here, please like and subscribe. Hey, I hope you liked the Jensen clip there. I thought it was a hilarious meme. That meme is doing the rounds right now. All of this market activity, all of this technology build out, it really starts to beg the question, are we in a brand new era of transformation? And are we really in a brand new S curve? Before we double click into this particular S curve, it's really important for us to understand what an S curve really is. An S curve is the path a new technology takes in terms of progress and adoption so that it creates the right outcomes, whether it creates those outcomes for a team, an organization, a company, or overall for the economy. And historically, we've seen a lot of these S curves. There was the computing revolution with personal computers, and that ushered in a whole new age of productivity in the 90s. And then in the late 90s, we had the internet and we had the dot-com boom. Quite frankly, even though that was early technology, it gained adoption and it started creating outcomes for individuals, companies, and the economy. And over a period of time, as internet gained adoption, we now saw the birth of mobile and cloud. It gained widespread adoption. It lowered barriers to entry. And it quite frankly created the new business models: subscription, software as a service, hyperscaler platforms. As you can see, every new S curve creates even more value than the one before because it builds on the earlier S curve. You know, one of the things that's super important during S curves is the outcomes that it creates. And when we take a look at these outcomes, we'll see that when the technology is early, it's kind of clunky, it's not super usable, and there are some early adopters of this technology nevertheless. And as the technology becomes a little bit more easier to use, we start to see more adoption come in and we see the adoption broaden out. More individuals, companies start to use this technology. And then over a period of time, we gain mass adoption. The technology becomes mainstream, quite frankly. And then it kind of feels ubiquitous. Basically, our take is that we are early in the cycle of generative AI, where the technology is just starting to become a little bit useful and we are starting to see some adoption in the market. We're already seeing a ton of adoption from a consumer standpoint. I mean, ChatGPT has gone to hundreds of millions of users in a very short period of time. And also, we see that there's this massive technology build out. Some of that build out is by the hyperscalers, the AWS, Azures, and Google Clouds of the world, but also the rest of the big tech, including Meta, Oracle, and others. We're also seeing a lot of venture investment and, quite frankly, a lot of open source, which is actually really good news for the ecosystem. So this is giving rise to this Cambrian explosion of AI technology. And quite frankly, AI has been responsible for lifting up US equities. What was sort of a downturn in 2022, we start to see this upward movement in US stocks, giving rise to the Magnificent Seven. And we are kind of seeing that momentum right now as well in 2024. So AI is creating tangible results from a market standpoint, as well as from an individual standpoint. If AI is the next S curve, then does it really matter to all of us? I would argue that the answer to that is yes. Granted that, the AI technology itself is still fairly new, it's still clunky, it still hallucinates, but there's a lot of productivity gains here to be had, a lot of efficiency we can drive in our organizations, a lot of innovation to create with creativity, with code generation, and things like that. And quite frankly, all of this leads to accelerated growth. As we work with our customers, we're starting to see a lot of ROI. In fact, if you look at this particular study by IDC and Microsoft, on an average, companies that are adopting AI, for every dollar that they spend on AI, they're getting an average of $3.50 in return. And if you look at the top of this pile, the top of this cohort, customers are actually getting an average of $8 in return for every dollar they spend, which is super high. We're also seeing that majority of AI deployments are taking about 12 months or less, and some of these organizations had implementation times less than 6 months. On an average, the return on their AI investments was within 14 months, which is fantastic news for companies looking to invest in AI technology and capabilities. So, what's the flip side of this? What happens if you do not adopt AI technology? If you do not adopt this new S curve? Companies that do not adopt this new S curve, they will lag on the innovation curve. Quite frankly, they will not be able to drive efficiency and productivity across their companies, and they will face a ton of competitive pressure. And in the good old days back in the 90s and maybe early 2000s, the disruption timeline may have been maybe decades. Because of digital transformation and digital technology, that disruption timeline is now maybe a couple of years. But because of AI, I think that the disruption timeline for companies that do not adopt is going to be maybe a few years or maybe a couple of quarters. So companies need to be really vigilant about adopting AI and deploying AI capabilities across their enterprise, because it is really survival of the companies that really take advantage of this adoption. So how do you take advantage of this new S curve? It's really coming down to figuring out what is going to be your strategy around AI. How do you identify the use cases that you need to come up with that value? How do you deploy technology in alignment with those use cases to create that value? And then how do you govern that technology to make sure that there is no biases that is getting into your AI, and making sure your AI is fair and it is responsible and you're following all the regulations that are coming up, especially in the EU and the US. And then you're able to measure and monitor the value that comes out of AI investments. In terms of AI capabilities, I really think that there are three beachheads to think about when it comes to adopting AI technologies. One is you will probably go to your traditional platforms, which is either collaboration platforms or enterprise applications or collaboration tools. And those are the traditional ways where these vendors are starting to infuse AI within their technologies so that you can take advantage of AI within your existing platforms. The second area is, in my mind, probably the more exciting, which is your needs are super unique. Every company is a snowflake. Quite frankly, I've not seen a single company and I can really apply the learnings to another company, which means that every company has very unique needs towards AI. They have a unique set of data and data sets and repositories to take advantage of. And quite frankly, developing custom tools using some of the existing AI stacks and cloud stacks would be a great way to unlock value that exists in the enterprise. And then, of course, the third way is to make sure that you are able to take care of not just AI, but all of the other types of automation and workflow technologies that allow you to infuse AI across your business processes, that allow your experts within the organization to take advantage of these new capabilities. A recommended resource is AI Digital Index. We've documented over 500 AI use cases across marketing, sales, customer service, product, supply chain, IT, operations, finance, legal, and HR. And this is now available to you. It's published on our website at spearhead.so/AI. Wrapping up, AI is the next big transformative technology. And we're just getting started on this brand new S curve. The question is, will you join? Until next time, thanks for watching. Please subscribe and like.